the problem for women isn't that we aren't, isn't that we aren't good enough men. That that we aren't that we aren't CEOs, that we aren't in government. The problem is that we don't know who we are in order to be good enough who and what we are. So then you talk about separation, which I think is the profound introduction to the conversation as the malady. And then you look at why that is, and it's an absence of the feminine. That's what we bring. We bring that, life comes through our bodies. We're biologically, and then we can get into a trans conversation, because I think that's really interesting. But we are biologically blueprinted, programmed for connection. So if you have this vessel not clear on who it is and what it's here to do with its own metrics, then what you end up with is an over-masculinated culture. And then the only idea of power that women have is to beat men or knock them down, but it's not to operate in concert in such a way that we move forward.
Yeah, to operate in concert in our, as us, and as us indeed, right? To connect.
Right.
With the other, shall we call it the other, which isn't really other because it is of oneness,
right?
But to be ourselves, to be in coherence within ourselves.
That we don't have it really come down to the personal in terms of knowing who the personal is to be political. And so if I practice my political activism as in a masculine form, in the form of combat and conquering, everyone loses. And that's I think that's an important distinction. It's not just that women are losing to men. It's that
the feminine space became a masculine space.
That's
precisely
right.
It just kind of morphed into it.
Yes, and thereby the biggest problem, it reifies the very thing it's critiquing.
Yes.
Right. So we start with Friedan and the feminine mystique, bra burning.
Right.
Was supposed to be the antidote, no? Like, okay, we're women now.
Right.
Like here are our tits. We're gonna own them.
See, I love bra burning. I love that.
So that's what I like.
I love the guerrilla aspect of it. I think we've stopped being guerrilla, but
did it help?
I think it did at the time. Did we continue from there? No. I think what happened was, and I think this happens in pain. You look for a quick solution. It's, you're feeling bloated, and so you do the fad diet that doesn't work and perpetually disappoints, and then that disappointment becomes embedded in the system. And then because if you feel feminism today, it's just pretty disappointed and resentful.
I don't even know that it exists anymore.
It's very reactive and prescriptive.
Right. But that and that I would say is
divisive.
If you have
it's in conflict with itself.
With itself,
it doesn't know what it is, and you have these generational issues that are bizarre at best. And an entire generation caving to a very sensitive generation who actually aren't so sensitive because they're beating everybody.
But they are sensitive. They're fragile because they're lacking a fundamental nutrient. And that again and again, I always say the fundamental nutrient is Eros, but Eros fundamentally is that which connects what's separate.
Yeah.
Women learning their unique value, their eudaimonic value, the blueprint that's in each of us. So each individual learning their own value, then learning their gender, religion, ethnicity value. And then evolving that into its highest form so that you have something to contribute, because that's what we want as human beings.
Our truth isn't a narcissistic version of truth. It's an authenticity that's deeper, truer, realer, and enables us to be more
generous.
It's a better self. I know that sounds pedantic, but a better self that is more, generous of spirit, magnanimous, because we can be, because that when we're filled with ourselves in the more evolved sense or the higher sense, we are so much more. We're magnetic. We're directed.
these truths are self-evident. They're like gravity. What? Women have inestimable power.